What if I told you that one of the most dangerous manipulators in your life might already have control over your emotions, your decisions, and maybe even your reality, without you ever noticing it? The truth is, the most powerful manipulators don't threaten you, they don't shout, and they don't force you to obey them. Instead, they quietly enter your life, gain your trust, and slowly begin shaping the way you think, the way you feel, and the way you see the world. By the time most people realize what's happening, they're already emotionally trapped. They start doubting their own judgment, apologizing for things they didn't do, and feeling guilty for problems they never caused. And the scariest part is that the person controlling them often looks like the most caring, supportive, and trustworthy person in their life. This is the dark side of human psychology that very few people truly understand. Welcome to Dark Within, the channel where we uncover the hidden truths about human behavior, manipulation, and the psychological games people play behind the scenes. In today's video, we're exposing the 7 dark mind games master manipulators use to control people, and more importantly, how you can recognize these tactics and break free from them before someone takes control of your mind. The first mind game is love bombing, and this is where manipulation usually begins. In the early stage of a relationship, manipulators overwhelm you with attention, compliments, and affection. They make you feel incredibly valued and understood. They might constantly message you, praise you excessively, or say things like, "I've never felt this connection with anyone before." Your brain responds to this intense attention by releasing dopamine and oxytocin, the same chemicals involved in emotional bonding and attachment. To you, it feels like genuine love or deep friendship, but for the manipulator, it's a psychological strategy. Their goal is to create emotional dependency as quickly as possible. Once you become emotionally invested, it becomes much harder for you to question their behavior later. After that emotional bond forms, manipulators often move to a darker tactic called gaslighting. Gaslighting is when someone deliberately makes you question your own memory, perception, or sanity. For example, you might confront them about something hurtful they said, and they respond with, "That never happened," or "You're overthinking things." Again, when this happens repeatedly, something dangerous starts happening in your mind. Your confidence in your own judgment slowly weakens. Instead of trusting what you saw or heard, you begin trusting their version of events. And once someone controls how you interpret reality, controlling your behavior becomes much easier. The third mind game is the silent treatment, which manipulators use as a form of emotional punishment. When conflict happens, instead of discussing the issue openly, they suddenly stop communicating. They ignore your messages, avoid eye contact, and act as if you don't exist. Psychologically, this creates intense emotional discomfort because humans are wired to fear social rejection. The manipulator knows that silence will make you anxious and desperate to fix the situation. Many victims eventually apologize just to restore the connection, even if they did nothing wrong. This teaches the manipulator that silence gives them power over your emotions. The fourth mind game is playing the victim. Master manipulators are extremely skilled at reversing situations, so they appear innocent while you appear guilty. If you confront them about their behavior, they might say something like, "I can't believe you would accuse me after everything I've done for you." Suddenly, the conversation is no longer about their actions. Instead, it becomes about how hurt that we feel. This tactic works especially well on empathetic people because empathy naturally makes us sensitive to someone else's suffering, even when that suffering is exaggerated or manipulated. The fifth mind game is guilt tripping, which is one of the most powerful emotional control tactics. Manipulators constantly remind you of favors, sacrifices, or help they've given you whenever you disagree with them. They might say, "After everything I did for you, you can't even do this one thing for me?" That single sentence can create intense guilt and obligation. When people feel guilty, they often comply just to relieve the emotional pressure. Manipulators understand this reaction very well, and they use it repeatedly to push people into doing what they want. The sixth mind game is information control. Manipulators carefully manage what information they reveal and what they hide. They might exaggerate stories, omit important details, or slightly twist facts to influence how others interpret situations. By shaping the narrative, they shape how people think about events. Because these distortions usually happen gradually, victims often don't realize their understanding of reality is slowly being manipulated. And finally, the seventh and most dangerous mind game is isolation. Manipulators often try to distance their target from friends, family, or anyone who might challenge their influence. At first, it might seem harmless. They might casually criticize your friends or question your family's intentions. They might say things like, "I just don't think those people truly care about you." These small comments plant seeds of doubt. Over time, those doubts grow, and the victim begins pulling away from other relationships. Once someone becomes isolated, the manipulator's influence becomes much stronger because there are fewer outside perspectives to reveal what's really happening. But here's the most important thing to understand. Manipulation loses its power the moment you recognize it. Awareness is the strongest defense against psychological control. When you understand these tactics, you begin noticing the patterns behind people's behavior. If someone constantly makes you doubt your memory, trust your instincts and verify facts. If someone punishes you with silence, don't reward that behavior with desperate apologies. Healthy relationships involve communication, not emotional punishment. If someone tries to isolate you from people who care about you, that's a major warning sign. Real relationships encourage connection, not separation. The truth is that manipulators depend on confusion, guilt, and emotional pressure to maintain control. When you stay calm, aware, and confident in your own judgment, their tactics begin to fail. And once manipulators realize their games are no longer working, they often lose interest because they can no longer control the situation. If this video opened your eyes to the dark psychology of manipulation, make sure to like this video so more people can learn these powerful psychological truths. Subscribe to Dark Within for more deep insights into human behavior and the hidden psychological strategies people use every day. And I want to ask you something important. Have you ever noticed someone in your life using these manipulation tactics? Comment "aware" below if you've started recognizing these mind games around you. Your comment might help someone else realize what they're experiencing too. And remember, once you truly understand how manipulators think, you stop being someone they can control.